In today's video, we will explore how the worship of Saturn, an ancient god of destruction and dominion over time, was gradually transformed into the figure of Satan, the archetype of evil in monotheistic religions. The transition from Saturn to Satan was not a simple process, but a religious reinterpretation that mixed ancient myths with new beliefs, creating a figure that still exerts a profound influence on the worldview of Western religions. We will analyze how Saturn, the god of limitation, time, and death, became associated with evil and rebellion, giving rise to the Saturnian Order and the worship of Satan. In the beginning, Saturn was viewed as a powerful yet complex deity. In Roman mythology, he was the god of time, agriculture, and harvest, but also of chaos and destruction. He was both the creator and the destroyer, the lord of the cycle of life and death. However, his figure was not purely malevolent. He governed time, a force that, though inevitable and oppressive, was essential to the balance of nature. This aspect of Saturn as a deity that maintains control and cosmic order is a fundamental part of his symbolism. If you're enjoying this journey of mysteries and discoveries, don't forget to give the video a like to support us. And to make sure you don't miss any episodes of this series full of enigmas, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This way, you'll stay up to date with everything that's coming. Over time, as beliefs transformed and Christianity began to establish itself in the Western world, the figure of Saturn was reinterpreted. The ideas of punishment, limitation, and suffering associated with Saturn were amplified and distorted. Saturn began to be seen not only as a natural and inevitable force, but as a representation of evil, spiritual slavery, and the oppression of souls. The transition from Saturn to Satan began to take shape with the advent of Christianity and its opposition to pagan beliefs. The god Saturn, who had been venerated for thousands of years in Roman and Greek traditions, was gradually demonized by the new faith systems that emerged. In the Christian view, any deity that represented opposition to the one, all-powerful God was automatically seen as a malevolent entity. The first major shift in the transformation of Saturn into Satan occurred through the association of the god with the concepts of sin, rebellion, and pride. Saturn, in his role as the god who traps souls in the cycle of time, began to be portrayed as a force that keeps humans in a state of suffering and subordination. This concept increasingly became linked to the idea of the Christian devil, who in many traditions is seen as one who seeks to enslave human souls and lead them away from spiritual freedom. Over the centuries, especially during the Middle Ages, when Christianity became the dominant religion, the figure of Satan was further personified and separated from ancient deities. However, in the shadows of society, the ancient pagan practices did not completely disappear. In secret, groups and esoteric societies began organizing around ancient beliefs, such as the worship of Saturn. These groups, like the Saturnian Order, did not see Saturn as an evil god, but as a force of freedom and absolute power. For them, Saturn represented the breaking of material world limitations and the liberation of souls from the control of cosmic forces. The Saturnian Order thus became an occult movement that sought to manipulate the power of time, death, and destruction concepts closely linked to the god Saturn. The followers of this order saw Saturn as the master of material reality, a being with the power to release or imprison human souls. The Saturnian cult, in turn, also began to associate Saturn with Satan, considering him as a symbol of rebellion against divine and earthly authorities. This process of transformation brought with it the idea of Satan not just as a mere adversary to God, but as a figure that represents true freedom and dominion over fate. Over time, the name Satan came to be associated with any being that rebelled against divine order, especially against the Christian view of a single, absolute God. This demonization of Saturn marked the turning point that transformed the figure of Saturn into Satan, the archetypal enemy of good. Rebellion against God and the quest for freedom came to be interpreted as acts of pride and disobedience, directly linked to the figure of the devil. Thus, The ancient figure of Saturn, the god of time and limitation, began to be viewed as the archetype of evil in Christian culture, but also as the representation of a primal and rebellious force that seeks to subjugate humans to a cycle of eternal pain and suffering. This transition allowed the worship of Saturn to infiltrate modern Satanism, where Satan is revered not only as the one who opposes God, but as the true lord of the material world and human souls. The transformation of Saturn into Satan was not merely a change of name or image, but a profound reinterpretation of the beliefs surrounding this figure. From creator and destroyer god to symbol of evil and oppression, the figure of Saturn became an icon of spiritual control, limitation, and soul slavery. Over time, the worship of Saturn and the Saturnian Order evolved, but always maintained this essence of rebellion against the dominion of divine forces. The album Dark Road Details of the Taurus is now available on all major streaming platforms. If you enjoy a mysterious and captivating vibe, don't waste any time. Head over to Spotify, Deezer, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and dive into these amazing tracks. Hit play and embark on this sonic journey.